This right here is the reason why as many as 95% of all golfers on the planet are really struggling to hit driver straight right now. Have you ever been in a position where your swing is just so good, it's so on plane, backswing, downswing, all the way through to finish, but you wonder why your club face is so open and your tee shots go so far to the right, like that one there? Well, this can be simply down to one little move in your golf swing that you don't realize you're doing, that if you change, you will see some remarkable results and hit driver much straighter more often. We're going to be talking about why this simple little adjustment is so important in your golf swing to have, how you can add this into your golf swing, and I'm also using the hack motion sensor today because we're going to be talking about a couple of great drills that this has on the system that you can practice to really help you hit driver straighter as well. I am going to talk you through how to do these drills without it, talk about the feels, setting the club into certain positions, rough guides. The hack motion just makes it a lot easier to implement. So let's dive straight in. Now, if you are new to the channel, welcome. I'm Harry, a golf teach professional, posting content like this every single week to help you improve your golf swings and lower those scores. So consider clicking that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any content coming out every single week on the channel. So as we're aware in the golf swing that in order for the golf shots to go too far to the right, the club face must be left way open. This has roughly around 85% influence on the actual ball flight. So if we can control this club face and get this back to somewhat square, or maybe ever so slightly closed biased, we're going to see much straighter drives. But the question is, in the first place, why is it during your golf swing that no matter how good you're swinging the club, no matter how on plane and effortless your swing looks, why are they going to the right? Club face is open, so something is happening during your backswing and downswing that's causing this to happen. And it's all to do with the way we set our wrists and hands in the golf swing. Backswing and downswing. We're going to be talking about first the backswing. When we set up to the golf ball, we address it like so here with what we call a fair bit of extension, which we can see in the top right hand corner of the screen. As I'm setting up to the golf ball here, it's showing that I am roughly around 15 or so degrees in this extension here, this extended angle in my lead wrist. What's supposed to happen on the way back, what tour players do so well, is they get a natural reduction of this extension as they take the club back, nice and square as we take the club into this position here, what we would call position one in the golf swing. But what so many golfers do is allow this angle to remain the same or increase the angle more. So watch what happens here. If I was just to make my takeaway to position two in the golf swing, position 1 and 2, and I keep this extension in my lead wrist, so my left wrist, I just take the club back like so. Look at now where the club face is. That club face is pretty open with the toe end here behind the heel. Whenever it's behind the heel and we want to add more rotation, more power into the downswing, we're going to start to rotate the body quite significantly, aren't we? So if I was to continue that motion, that club face now, look at it, it's so far open, it's going to hit my iPad over here. So what have we got to do? We've got to try and conjure up something last minute to try and hit the ball straight. And usually because we're swinging driver so much quicker than an iron, it's so much harder to recover from. It's so much harder to manipulate that club face last minute. And that's why with irons at the moment, you're probably hitting them pretty well, maybe seeing those little fades take place. But with driver, it's way more exaggerated because it's a longer, heavier club. It's so much harder to swing faster and control the movement and control the club face from this takeaway movement. Look at that there on the screen. Plus 20 of extension. At the top of my golf swing on the shot that I just hit then for the B-roll footage was plus 21 in the extended number. And that was pretty much the same number that I just formed for you here as we take the club back. So what we want to be looking into doing instead is doing the opposite movement. Because what happens is from the takeaway, it gets quite exaggerated from there, and it only gets worse and worse now as we start to hinge our wrists into the backswing. If we're going to be extended here, we're going to hinge them more so, and now we can see on the screen plus 36. No good there. So what tour players and really good players are doing at the moment to be able to control the wrists and therefore control the face is almost the opposite movement. You may have to feel the opposite movement. We're going to find out whether you have to or not as we start to use the hat motion sensor in just a sec. But as I take this driver back, all I'm focused on is trying to get the leading edge of the driver here, so the driver face itself, to be parallel with my spine angle as I take the club back to this point here. And we can see on the screen now that my extension is completely gone. So it's a -12 of extension there, so a nice controlled takeaway. Massive difference there between my wrist angle of before and now afterwards. And look at how much that changes the club face. And for me here, it feels like I'm getting my glove logo to face towards the ground. For some people, they prefer getting their right palm, so their trail palm, to face towards the ground like this here. The key really is getting that toe end of the club to be ahead of the heel. And just quickly before I introduce the hack motion tip, let's see how this looks at impact. If I was to get the club face directly in line with my spine angle and I start to rotate, look how much more square that is at impact. Now I know not usually we'd see the hands as far ahead as this, but the club face is square and I've just simply been able to rotate in the downswing. And I'm not going to have to manipulate much there, am I, to be able to hit it straight? You know, not much at all. Maybe I want a bit of release or to hit up on the golf ball, but we can do that in the setup. The key today is hitting those drives straight. So let's take a look at one of the tips Hack Motion gives you to help you form that right takeaway motion. You can have a look at this and then we're going to dive into the downswing as well. So make sure you stay tuned because the downswing is just as important as the backswing, if not more so. When you're ready to take these tips to the course, I'd recommend grabbing your free copy of my course management starter guide. It covers the same strategies I teach my students on a daily basis, and you can start using them on the course straight away. So leave that in a link down in the description below, or you can head over to my website at harryshawgolf.com and you can access the ebook from there. So I'm going on to the drill setting here now, and I'm going to use the stable wrist takeaway drill. So I'm going to start drill, and what it's going to ask me to do is very simply get into my address, as we can see on the screen there. And once I'm in my address, it'll just take a little bit of time to load, and then it'll tell me to make my backswing. And all I'm trying to focus on here is making sure I can hear that noise from the hat motion, the halo noise. So as long as I keep my wrist within that range, I know that I'm keeping the club face nice and square as I take it back, and then as I make my way into the backswing. So I'm making sure, I'm watch this as well, just to get a good feel for this, making my way up to the top of the backswing. And you can exaggerate this as well by just setting the wrist a little bit more in the flex position if you wanted to, just to get a good feel for this, just like I'm doing here. And that's really forcing me to feel it the opposite way now, as I make my way into the takeaway and backswing position. So that's a really impressive way to really help you form those movements. And as long as you hear the buzz and feel the buzz from the sensor, you know you're on the right track with this. So that feel versus real concept can be simplified just by doing this drill right here. So takeaway just to there, trying to get the club face there to be parallel with the spine angle. So that was definitely straighter than the first shot I hit. However, I have still curved it off to the right a little bit. I've been able to get a bit more distance from that one as well in comparison to the one before. But how can we make them go even straighter if not start to curve further back to the left? All to do with the downswing, as I mentioned. Now, downswing in particular is so important. And what people don't realize is that if they're so used to doing this motion on the way back, they're probably going to do it as much on the way down. So even when we try, and I've seen this with a lot of my students, when we try this, even when we try and get ourselves into that really nice position, controlling the wrist on the way back, all the way up to the top of the backswing, it's very often, because they're so used to this action here, and they're so used to transitioning and having the wrist that way, that they tend to do this anyway. So that club face is starting to open up on the way down. Glove logo here, a good checkpoint. If it's facing upwards from club parallel to the ground on the downswing, it's no good, it's game over from there. You're gonna have to conjure up things again. We want that glove logo there to face down just as much, if not more, as the takeaway to really ensure that when you start swinging quicker, you're going to start squaring up the face and hitting those nice straight shots, if not baby draws. So the feel for me there when I do that, it feels like I'm almost revving a motorbike using my lead wrist. So when I rev the motorbike, I would do this action here. Now we can see how much that's encouraging me there to get the toe end of my driver ahead of the heel. It's really encouraging me there to get the face pointing back towards the ground, like so. And also it's helping me keep the club behind me, get that shallower downswing, and that's what's going to really help me hit more up on the golf ball. So that feel for the downswing is great for you there, just to help you control the club face. But to keep things simple and simplify this, in fact, Hack Motion also has a really good training drill you can do to help you focus on this movement and make sure you're doing the correct amount of flexion, revving the motorbike move in your downswing. So let's take a look at that. And you can choose between two: motorcycle drill from position 6 in the downswing, making your way through to finish. But I'm going to choose the full one from the top of my backswing all the way into the downswing. So just simply pressing onto the motorcycle drill. It shows you obviously an introduction to it there, but we're just going to get started because I want to show you this straight away. I also love about this as well that you can actually select what club you're using for this, so it's obviously doing that for a reason. So it understands exactly what you're using to make sure you're getting the correct numbers for every single club in the bag. So that's pretty impressive there. And once I'm ready, that'll start to load. It'll get me to swing up to the top, and then I'm just focusing on keeping it within that range all the way down. Same thing, I can hear the halo noise all the way through to impact. That's really encouraging me there to swing up to the top. If I can just get it to, there we go. And then it's staying within that range. I'm making sure that I'm gradually doing the motorbike, and as long as I hear the halo noise, I'm staying within the range. There we go. Now we're talking. Dead straight, if I'm being picky, a touch of a draw, straight down the fairway on this fantastic par 5 at Trump Turnberry, the Ailsa course. At the top of my golf swing, I was -13. Whereas at the top of my golf swing at the start, if we were just to take those numbers again, you can see there, massive difference there between the two. Huge difference in total distance as well from before and afterwards. And also look at that impact video there. Brilliant. A touch out the toe side, which is what you would prefer with driver compared to the other one. Not so great. Massively out the toe, leaving the face well open. Speaking of strike is probably just as important, if not more important, than controlling the club face at impact, due to the way driver faces work. In this video down below, you'll see a simple tip that myself and Golf Monthly Top 50 coach Alex Elliott talk about to really help you improve your ball striking with driver and see straighter and also longer tee shots. So I recommend clicking that one down below. Awesome video with him. So I'd really would recommend watching that one after this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you hopefully down in that video there.